of Commerce and co-founder, India Startup Festival. Mr. Raja Mohan Rao, Chairman and Founding Member, United Telecoms Limited. Mr. J. Chowdhury Garu, Key Architect of the Indian Tech Industry, Chairperson and Convener, India Startup Festival. Mr. Dinanath Harapanahalli, CEO Lifecycle and co-founder, India Startup Festival. Shri B. N. Narsimurthy, Chancellor, Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. Our love and gratitude to Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, founder, Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, social and spiritual leaders spearheading service initiatives in the verticals of nutrition, education, and healthcare across 33 countries. The last 3 days at Sathya Sai Grama have been action-packed, to say the least. With eminent speakers, business leaders, and entrepreneurial giants, this festival has been a confluence of ideas, passion, inspiration, and value systems. And we are certain that every participant has not only been touched and positively impacted through the various talks and deliberations, but each of us carry back a stronger resolve to create sustainable solutions for rural challenges. As we gear up to celebrate the 76th year of Indian independence, let us collectively strive to realize our vision of Amrit Kal, wherein success and prosperity is inclusive of all sections of society, particularly those at the bottom of the pyramid. May I now invite Shri J. Chowdhury Garu to give the closing remarks of the India Startup Festival 2023.
Pranam Swamiji. Good evening, dignitaries on the dais, Honorable Minister, Government of Karnataka, all other distinguished guests on the dais, and off the dais, captains of the industry, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. I want to really thank all the invited guests who came from all over the globe, from several continents. People came only to attend this conference and they went back. In fact, many of them already gone to the airport to catch the flight. They came only to attend ISF conference in a small village called Muddenahalli. Swamiji, when I was participating in the press conference in Bangalore on the curtain raiser day, all the reporters who came on that day, they asked me, such a big conference, why are you having it in a village where there are no hotel facilities? For us to come all the way to Muddenahalli, it's going to be very difficult. What is the reason why you are hosting this conference in a village? Then I had to tell them, the main objective of this conference is on the innovation at the bottom of the pyramid. All the rural problems, whatever, all the decades, for the last 75 years of Indian independence, though we have been talking about farmer suicides, and still those suicides are happening, though we're talking about several issues at the ground level in the rural areas, they have not been addressed. So we are making an attempt to identify those problems. We want to bring all the stakeholders how they can solve these problems together through the startup companies. Because so far I told them, government has failed, NGOs have failed to see that all the problems, how they can be addressed and in a sustainable way provide solutions to them. We are making an attempt. Through our startup companies, we will identify the problems. We will give the problems to the startup companies. We will give the funding to them. We will also mentor them so that they will be able to solve it in a sustainable way. I am very much hopeful with the blessings of Sadhguru, it's going to happen. In fact, today we had a round table. We had a very important round table called Rural Innovation Roundtable. All the who's and who's were there on the round table. And in fact, some of the solutions what they brought, we immediately said it is not theory. We have to identify what are the low-hanging fruits and give these problems to the startup companies. And I requested Dr. Rajmohan Garu to even fund those startups, because not only funding, he agreed to even mentor those startups. Similarly, GMR Group, BV Rao was also there. I requested BV Rao from GMR Group also invest in those startups and also mentor them. See that the low-hanging problems where immediately they can provide a solution which are scalable. And that already we identified. In fact, next quarter we are meeting in Arovali, and it's going to be hosted by one of our committee members. By the time we go to that meeting, all these low-hanging problems have to be solved, and they have to be identified at least by some of the startup companies. And Rajmohan Rao and BV Rao from GMR Group, they have to see that how they can fund them and mentor them, so that we can create a hope to the rest of the startup companies. If you go and identify a problem in the rural areas, there are people like Dr. Rajmohan Rao who are ready to come and fund and mentor, and we are there, ISF is there to take those companies in a scalable way. Once we create the success stories, many more startups will come. So see, today, all of them are going to the urban problems, identifying the urban issues and trying to get quick money. I think that way we will not be able to solve these problems. We need to create role models. That's where I'm in our roundtable discussion today afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Rajmohan Garu, for your benevolent way of agreeing to support those startup companies who are going to solve the rural problems. And that's what I mentioned to the press people. We are not here to come and give bhashans. If it would have been a bhashan giving conference, probably I would have selected a 7-star hotel in Bangalore. I would have run the conference there. This is not a bhashan giving conference. This is the problems of the rural areas. It has to be held in a rural area called Muddenahalli, and also the place for Mokshagundu Visvesvaraya is the birthplace of Mokshagundu Visvesvaraya. We want to bring the technology, engineering, and all the problems to be solved under the lotus feet of our Sadguru, and we are definitely hopeful of solving many problems, if not all the problems. Definitely, we are very confident, particularly after seeing all the roundtables. I am more confident that yes, we are going to address these problems in a very sustainable way. And I don't want to talk beyond that, because all the roundtables, all the invited guests, all the arrangements, what all happened, all the exhibitions all happened because of my volunteers who are sitting here and also sitting in the front seats. Instead of me talking, probably they have to talk about how it has happened. Maybe I request Dinanath and also Mahesh and Taranji, if they can talk for a few minutes what their experience in handling this great conference. This kind of international conference, without event management company, without anybody support, with all the volunteers working day and night, having it so successfully, I don't think any in the Indian history or in the world history, this never happened. And this is happening with the blessings of the Sadguru. With this, I want to thank all the people, all the mentors, all our ISF volunteers, and all the people from Muddenahalli, our ashramam, because everybody supported, particularly the university students of Satyasai University. Day and night, they have been going to the airports and receiving them, even in the middle of the night, even at 1 o'clock in the night. And they have been following wherever our invited guests were going. And we got an excellent report from all the guests who came from different parts of the globe. So I want to thank the entire Muddenahalli ecosystem who supported ISF. ISF is successful not because of us, because of all of you. Thank you so much.
This evening, we have yet another MOU exchange. The Memorandum of Understanding is between India Startup Festival and Leaders of India, And we welcome on stage Mr. Moni Sierra, its founder and CEO. Leaders of India organization is an angel investment platform that aims to supercharge the rural startup ecosystem through funding and leveraging mutual resources. May we now invite Mr. Tarun Gulati to share a few words. A seasoned CEO with a brilliant track record of delivering practical and creative solutions to complex issues in banking and financial services, he has previously held senior positions at leading banking institutions such as Citibank, HSBC, and ING. Mr. Tarun Gulati, please.
Sadhguru Swamiji Pranam, Honorable Minister, Mr. Chaudhary, and other distinguished guests on the dais, brothers and sisters and other distinguished guests off the dais. I can tell you the talk of heaven on this earth. I've traveled all over the world, lived in 8 odd countries, traveled maybe to 70, 80 countries. Moment you enter those gates, heaven is on this earth here. Hospitality, unparalleled, non-pareil. Never seen it. You go to the top hotels, Niketan and Mohan, the volunteers who picked me up at 1 a.m. in the night, have been there all along. And they are not, I can only name 2 individuals. Everybody I met, I think, Sadhguru, this is tremendous. It's hospitality, not in the mind, it's from the heart. That makes all the difference. Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, for giving me the opportunity to be part as a co-founder, chairman of this entity. You saw the serene faces of these young people. You would realize there's peace, there's tranquility, and there's satisfaction. That's what the startups are looking for. They're looking for an ecosystem that actually nurtures them, caters for all their needs, mentors them. It's not all about money, because money can come, but you should know how to deploy it, how to make profit from it. Build value, not valuations. As Sadhguru said yesterday, you're looking at bottom of the pyramid. There are those that have it all, but there are those have-nots. The idea of the India Startup Festival is to actually uplift those that are at the bottom of the pyramid. Maslow's hierarchy of needs talks. Right at the bottom, there are these necessary things that we need. Some people don't have theirs, where some of them, well, they haven't achieved self-actualization, but they have everything they need. The idea is if you come here each year, that self-actualization will be possible thanks to the fantastic entity here. I have never come here before, but I've made a self-promise to myself and everybody I've met. I intend to come here every quarter and be part of this institution, thanks to Mr. Chaudhary. The other colleagues who are not on the stage with me, I represent all of them who are part of the core team here. I speak for all of them for encouraging me to be part of this. Without their support and encouragement, I wouldn't have been able to be. So thank you very much for everybody here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. We now request Mr. Rajmohan Rao Garu to share his thoughts with us.
Pujya Swamiji and Honorable Minister Sri Bosu Garu and distinguished guests on the dais and friends. This has been a great experience. I live in Bangalore for the last 40 years. I live very close to Vrindavan. But I see another Vrindavan here. And what service you are giving to poor people and more deserving people from rural India and many other parts of India, sir. I think Swamiji is carrying a legacy which has been there, which has been set up by Baba, and this is a great example. I have asked my relatives who live in America, who studied in Guntur Medical College and many other medical colleges. They migrated nearly 60 years back. They're retiring. Some of them have come back. So I told them, why don't you come and work for an institution when you come for holidays? At least winter, they don't stay there. They go off to Florida. I said, instead of going to Florida, come here and work and teach. And the children will be benefited who are studying medicine in this hospital. And some of them have done exceedingly well in their life in America. They have a lot of gratitude. They also want to do something good for our country. And I want to assure Swamiji that the kind of work that you are doing, there is no parallel. When I told them there is no cash counter concept, many of them said, is it true? I said, you come and see. It is absolutely true. Every institution that is set up by Swamiji is absolutely free. And this is the best example that one should follow. And as far as we are concerned, we are all committed to work for greater benefit of our country and many countries around the world who are in similar situations like us. And we'll be happy to be more than money. What is more important is sharing experience and giving mentorship and guiding people who are young people. And while we leave this world, nothing will come with us. Kings have gone, prime ministers come and go, chief ministers will come and go, richest of the richest will come and go, but nothing will come with us. So if one can realize that every day, if you remember that nothing will come with us, leave something, a legacy behind here, and do something good for people who deserve it. And that is you are the best example, Swamiji. There is no better example in the world other than this Muddenahalli example. And I wholeheartedly work for your organization. Like many others are working here, I will come often and be a part of your organization. And whatever we can do, definitely we'll do this. And J. Chaudhary, my friend, my brother, I have never seen him getting tired. So a leader like him is very rarely you can come across a leader like him who has got so much of knowledge, so much of connectivity. Very rarely, I don't have even 10% of his energy. So he's a great example for youngsters to follow. And many children should actually learn a lot from him. He's never tired. So he's a great inspiration even for me. And we all together, under the guidance of Swamiji and many of you, we will dedicate ourselves to bring a change in the society around us. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring words and for your committed zeal to join us to do more greater good. May I now invite Mr. Dinanath Harapanahalli to share a few words. As a co-team member of the India Startup Foundation, he has been relentlessly striving and working for the success of this event. Mr. Dinanath, please.
Ram Swamiji. My dear, all our beloved leader, Jay, all the luminaries on the stage, off the stage. Back in my corporate world, we had a saying after every important meeting, we would go to the back room and say, when everything is said and done, so much is said and so little is done. And ever since I have come here, Swamiji, just about a year ago, I think I'm seeing the opposite of that. So I will not say much because so little has been said and so much has been done in these short 12 months. So I will close my speech here with 3 examples. So I don't want to talk about philosophy. Less than 24 hours ago from this stage, there was an indication that ISF is going global. And Swamiji, it's a miracle. So we had an event, a sub-event this morning in the Atai Shaw Auditorium today. It was called the India Semi-Finals for the Hong Kong FinTech Week to choose one of the best FinTech startups that we could get from our ISF startup group so that, one, the top can make a free trip to Hong Kong and present in front of the FinTech crowd around the globe. 30,000 plus people participate in the Hong Kong FinTech Week from all over the world. So I think it was about 16 hours since the statement here, and ISF has gone global. And to that particular event, the kind of funds that we had actually not thought of actually flew in. So there were people coming in from Hong Kong, Delhi, Mumbai, and they stood in jury, and they picked the top FinTech. And unfortunately, or fortunately, there was so much going on everywhere. There was nobody to tell them about the place and what's going on and to take them around. So I took the liberty, Swamiji. I know very little, but I did my best to tell them about this. I took them around, and one of them had a flight within an hour and a half or so. So we did a flying visit for him for about 15 minutes. The rest of them took a little bit more time. And I think they were in such sense of disbelief and awe and inspired situation that they essentially said they will have to set time, much like you said, Tarun, they want to set aside time to come back and learn here. And I could, more than its effect on me, I could see it in their faces, what is the power of this place is for somebody who has not seen it before. So Jay, your words have come true. I think this is the only way we can get people from around the world and tell them, because if we tell them anywhere else, they will not believe us, right? And the third one, Swamiji, even though I've been associated with this from day one, initially I kept thinking that, Jay does this all the time. I've known him for 15 years. He pulls me into things that I don't think I have the time for. And reluctantly I start. And then I get involved, and my nature is if I get involved, then I can't stop. I think Jay has that effect on all of us. And I'm probably the happiest person, and this event has gone beyond my own sense of what it could have been in 12 months. So all of this, I think, Swamiji, is the power of this place and all the hard work. And I think if I start naming, the day will not end. So for every one of these, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. This has been the best experience of my life, and we'll come back again here. Jay said 1x to 10x, and it has become 10x. And he's scaring me already, saying from 10x it's going to 100x. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we'll do it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Deena. We now request our guest of honor, Shri N.S. Bosrajuji, to address us. He has been a 2-time member of the Karnataka Legislative Assembly representing Manvi constituency in the Raichur district. He currently serves as Minister for Minor Irrigation, Science and Technology. He also serves as Leader of the House, Karnataka Legislative Council, Government of Karnataka. Shri Bosraju Garu.
ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಶ್ರೀ ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಯಿಜಿ ಅವರ ಪಾದಾರಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕರಿಸಿ I pay my respects all dignitaries on the dais. Good evening to all ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurs and visionaries. I stand before you today with a great joy and pride at this August event of the Indian Startup Festival 2023, an event that holds the key to unlocking the true potential of our nation's entrepreneurial spirit. Making people's life better is the most valuable contribution anyone can make. I would like to take the opportunity to appreciate the contributions of Sadhguru Sri Masudan Sai ji, and the Satyasaya Seva Trust for the selfless, unwavering services in providing free education, free health care, and running the country's largest nutrition program, making the impossible to possible in order to build a peaceful and possible society. I'm extremely proud to say that this year, India Startup Festival event took place in the birthplace of Sri M. Vishweswaraya, who was a renowned engineer, innovator, and visionary leader who played a key role in shaping the India's industrial and economic growth during the early 20th century. As a tribute to Mr. Vishweswaraya, I would like to say that his life is an inspiration for all of us in terms of how to encourage, expand, and support to innovate ideas. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank Sri J.S. Chaudhary, Chairman of the Indian Startup Foundation and a key architect of our country's IT revolution. Today, he is the driving force behind the creation of a startup-friendly economy and is a mentor of a lot of youngsters who are shaping the future of our nation. The India Startup Festival vision and mission are to reimage the startup revolution and empower entrepreneurs, which aligns strongly with the policies of the government of Karnataka, where we are making every effort to promote and build a business, science and technology and startup-friendly Karnataka. Startups create more jobs and wealth by attracting investors, which in turn increase GDP and thus plays an important role in the country's economic growth. In addition, startups are very important because they bring new innovations and competitions to the economy. Scientific advancement and technological innovation are important economic drivers that serve as the foundation of any startup ecosystem. The ability to create and stage knowledge has become a major source of comparative advantage, wealth creation, and improvements of promoting startups. Our government is committed to obtaining the benefits of this transformation. Our government's focus is on fourth education to cultivate scientific temper, creating an enabling business environment to generate employment, and thus building a robust economy that constantly adapts to the demands and opportunities of the new generation within the larger framework of ecological substantiality. Our aim is gradually increase R&D spending to 3% of the state GDP. To achieve this, our government will soon set up the Karnataka State Research Foundation. This organization will act as a bridge between research organization, universities, startups, and business to facilitate R&D and innovation in the state. When I worked in the automobile sector during the 1960s and 70s, there was no infrastructure in place of support new ideas or start any new business. But today we have a proactive public and private sector and organizations like the ISF to support our youth and their ideas. Together, we can strengthen research and innovation capabilities across institutions and sectors to support the new startups. Dear friends, the government of Karnataka is committed to supporting the dreams of our young entrepreneurs to build a brighter and more suitable economy. It is time for all of us to coordinate, collaborate, and cooperate in order to build a business-friendly and startup-friendly economy. All the best to all our entrepreneurs. Tomorrow is yours. I wish you all the best in all your future entrepreneurs. Thank you, India Startup Festival 2023 organization, for inviting me to this successful and inspiring event.
Thank you, sir, for joining us this evening and for sharing your thoughts with all of us. A token of our love and gratitude to Shri Bose Raju ji. We would also like to extend a token of our appreciation to Mr. Raja Mohan Rao Garu. To Mr. Tarun Gulati ji. To Mr. Dinanath Harapanahalli. Last but not the least, to the conference chair, Mr. J. Chowdhury Garu.
There are many volunteers who could not sit on the dais because of certain limitations, but they worked day and night to make it happen. I request Mahesh to come onto the dais, and also Sheshadri to come onto the dais, Bhanu Prakash Reddy also to come onto the dais. Please come.
On behalf of all of us, we pray to Sadhguru to bless us all with his valedictory message.
In Vidura Niti, in Mahabharata, a mention comes where he teaches the principles of governance and decision making to the kings. And one shloka captures the essence of it all. Tyajet purusham kulasyarthe, gramasyarthe kulam tyajet, gramam janapadasyarthe, atmarte prithvim tyajet. Which means you can sacrifice an individual for the sake of the betterment of the family. You can sacrifice a family for the welfare of the community. You can sacrifice the community for the welfare of the world, and you can sacrifice the world itself for the highest good, that is to reach God. So decision-making process is what Vidurniti explains. And this is what I also think should be the way our minds, our intellects, our actions should be guided. Where we make decisions that is not just good for us, but for our families, our communities, our world at large, and ultimately something that would please the divine within all of us and also the divine in all around. That kind of decision making should be the part of doing anything, especially running a business. We have examples within our own groups. Look at the kind of people who have supported this cause of ISF. They've not just done this for their sake. They've sacrificed much of their time, energy, rest, and relaxation for the sake of the betterment of the society. They've sacrificed their time with their families, starting with Jay Garu, whose family will always be telling him, "Where are you? Please let us know your coordinates because you seem to be, not available at all." They have sacrificed their family's time, leisure time, for the sake of betterment of society. Many of you have sacrificed your work at your offices, at your companies, or wherever you are engaged with. And you have come here to support a cause like this, as an investor or as a startup or as a volunteer. That's your sacrifice that you have made for the greater good of the communities. And tomorrow, these companies which kind of come up from this platform, they will do good to the world. And when the whole world is living in a peaceful and a prosperous way, I'm sure God, who is the creator of the entire world, will be happy with us. So I think our understanding of why we do a thing should be guided by our scriptural knowledge of doing good for others and sacrificing the smaller interest for the greater good of all. I'm very glad to have Bosaraju Garu, who has lived a whole life in the service of mankind, service of humanity, and he made time to come here again. That is his sacrifice, to come and encourage this young budding startup festival, and which has gone to places now. Last year we started here, and I think any term sheet signed last year. Last year was just mentoring, no term sheets were signed. But this year, Jay Garu tells me that almost 150 term sheets have been signed, perhaps largest number, if you think from the point of view of the success of a startup festival. So 150 startups got a kind of a boost, a new energy, and also they're going to be mentored. It's not just about giving them some finances and leaving them on their own, but the idea is to help them end to end. And so many of them, just now Rajamohan Garu said, I'm not only here to help, I'm here to mentor these startups, and also he agreed to mentor the organization with his experience that he has had. So this is the kind of inspiration that this place has created for every one of us. I'm very appreciative of the fact that you have just not thought of your companies or your ideas alone, but you have thought of the greater good of the communities and societies that this startup festival and the companies that emerge from here will achieve. That is the kind of new world order that we seek to create, where everyone's welfare is included, not just ours, but everyone's welfare is included. That is the kind of society, that is the kind of business ecosystem, that is the kind of governance that we want to see in the world, which has not happened so far. Mahatma Gandhi ji gave the mantra of Grama Swaraj. Now, I was very touched. As young students, we read about our history, we read about the great personalities and their visionary ideas. Many people have given many visionary ideas, from Western philosophers to the Eastern saints and sages, but Mahatma Gandhiji's idea of Grama Swaraj stands out as a very unique and revolutionary idea. However, at that point in time in India, Grama Swaraj in literal terms means a village that is self-governed. That is the kind of, in the sense, whatever is needed for the village is provided within the village, including good governance. And that is how each village should be independent and self-governing and self-sufficient and self-sustaining. That is the idea of Grama Swaraj. India is a land of villages. We have 6.5 lakh villages from north to east and west to south. Everywhere we have villages. And Gandhiji thought about it as Grama Swaraj. However, at that point in time, the circumstances were such that this could not be achieved. A great balance had to be struck between the industrial revolution that India needed and also grassroots level innovation and the self-governance that India needed. Balancing both the ends, which were like literally the two ends of the spectrum, was a great task for the governments, for agencies of change, even for industries. So we could achieve a bit of it, a part of it in different ways, but the whole of it could not be achieved so far. But today, where India stands, it is one of the best times for India where it can achieve Grama Swaraj because of the penetration of technology in the rural areas. be it communication technology, information technology, transportation, digitization, financial inclusion, and the amount of education and other facilities, infrastructure that has reached to villages is capable of transforming villages at this point of time. I don't think this was doable so easily at least 50 years ago. But today definitely it is doable. But what is required for it? Not just the government. Bosaraju Garu will agree. Government, even if they do everything in their might and more, yet to include everyone, help everybody grow, is a Herculean task for the size of the country that we are. Now we are 30 countries in one country. That is how we are. And to manage, you can imagine if somebody has to manage 30 countries together, it's not an easy task. So it needs public participation, it needs participation from the industry, it needs participation from all sectors of society. And that is the only way we can achieve Purna Grama Swaraj, where every village becomes self-sustaining, self-governing, self-sufficient. They don't have to migrate to the cities for the sake of jobs, for the sake of facilities, including education, healthcare, and other basic necessities. These should be available at the rural doorsteps. And that was the idea which I was being discussed with J.A. Garu. All right, startups will happen, IT startups will happen, many other fintech startups will happen. Most of this happens in the urban areas because urban area startups are not that it is easy, but relatively easy compared to a rural startup. So naturally, you are going to be finding more people interested there. But can you do something to direct their thoughts, direct their energies, and channelize them to help rural economies? And that is when Jay Garu said, yes, Swamiji, we will do that. As the second chapter of the India Startup Festival, we'll take up this as the main theme, that innovations at the bottom of the pyramid. And that is how he conceived the entire program. And I was thinking, let us see how many of these people will turn up. Because rural startups, rural innovation is not the in thing, it's not a flavor of the times that we live in. But he managed to garner these many people, and for that he has worked for months without rest. Despite his personal challenges, he traveled, and every time I ask him, where are you? Now I'm in UK. Next, where are you? I'm in US. Where are you? So he's always, he has delocalized over the whole globe. And you have to really search and find him because he was so particular that this idea of rural innovation should take wings. It should not simply remain a discussion item, a nice to have talk and conversation, but it should be turned into actionables. And he has achieved it with the great team support from all of you. Gulati ji is there from the UK, London Chamber of Commerce. So also there are so many of others who have been helping this cause. And I am very glad that I found these many good people in the world who have come together. See, one single person cannot do a lot of good, but so many of us can achieve a lot. I was telling, if you want to tilt the balance, you all have to group up together, or rather gang up together as good gangs, and go to one end of the balance and tilt it. So we all need to get together. If we are scattered all around the balance will never be tilted in the favor of the poor and the weak. We have to shift the balance, and for that, all of us have to get together, work in unison to achieve the same vision, which is to provide opportunities, equitable opportunities, even to rural geographies, not just of India. Now, I don't think I can speak much of India because India Startup Festival now has truly become International Startup Festival. And so I'll have to speak for the whole world. And we travel around the world. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is the idea. Whole world is a family, and the most needy members of the family are there at the bottom of the pyramid. And this is how we have to go and serve in those areas. We as an organization work in several countries, almost 30 plus countries. Many of them are developed countries, many of them are just developing. Many of them are still not caught up with the world that we live in today. So we work in Africa, we work in South America, we work in North America, especially the southern region of the North America, the Delta region. And again, we work in Asia, we work in as far as Fiji Islands, which is in the South Pacific. And we have organizations set up there which does social good. And everywhere I see there is this difference between haves and have-nots, and most of the people are towards the haves, and naturally there is a demand, and that is the tax-paying or the revenue-generating community. Naturally, it has more say than those who are dependent on this revenue. But at the same time, I always try to remind the governments, the leaders, that this bottom of the pyramid is what is holding the pyramid in the first place. If that get dismantled and kind of breaks apart, the whole pyramid will come collapsing down. So our societies are built on these grassroots level people who are working hard. They may not be your biggest revenue contributors, but they are, or they are your consumers or future customers at this point in time, but they are the ones who are holding the society together. They are larger in numbers, and we have to respect their contribution, even if it is not visible. So one more thought that somebody told me today is that please recognize rural role models in the ISF festival who have done grassroots level innovations. They are not from the Ivy League institutions. They are not from the IIMs and IITs and IISCs. But they are people who may not even know how to speak English or how to even articulate or communicate or whatever, make an elevator pitch to the investors. But they are the ones who have found the problem and found a solution in their own way. In India, we call it the jugaad economy, you know. So you have to kind of get those people also onto this platform and help them also to scale up their ideas and recognize some of these rural heroes, the unsung heroes of the country and the world on this platform. So while we have heroes like Rajmohan Garu and many more whom we met yesterday, each of them is an inspiration. How much they have done for the country and the community at large. They all could have taken the beaten path, you know, of making billion-dollar businesses, making, you know, name for themselves, and finally retiring in some Florida-like place. But then they have decided not to do that. They continue to battle for the benefit of all. They are the people who are real heroes who are to be celebrated. And I think I must add one name to that list of heroes. That is J. Chaudhary Garu, who has taken up a new vision, a new mission. At this age, you know, most people hang their boots and say, we have done enough, and now we'll play with our grandkids and, you know, relax in a retreat-like place. But he said, Swamiji, you have given a new vision to us. I want to take it up. I want to make sure that this festival grows strength to strength with every passing year. I want to ensure that the best of the minds, best of the capacities and abilities come to this small village of Muddenahalli, see what you do for the world, get inspired and participate in developing the world together. That was his original idea. Again, those who were not there yesterday or day before, the main thought was he came one day from Bangalore, and it was just like a, you know, just a casual trip. He did not think much of it, but somebody brought him. Satyendra was there. I think Satyendra insisted. He and Deenak, both of them came. They came to address the student of the university as a lecture, but they ended up listening to my lecture in my room. And then after an hour of all the talking, he was so inspired. He said, Swamiji, world has to know what you're doing over here. This is the right thing to do, and this needs to be told to the world. You have to talk. You have to make it known to the... I said, I am not used to talking. I'm used to working. Our motto is, Baat kam kaam zyada. It means talk less and work more. And therefore, I do not go around telling this. He said, we will do it, Swamiji. We will get best of the corporates, best of the minds to this village and make sure that they all get to know how things should be done. And while you run corporates, you also have the social side of responsibility, and each one of us have to be made sensitized, made aware of our greater role in building better societies, especially at the bottom of the pyramid. That was his vision, and I was so happy that a lot of people visit us, you know. We get a lot of appreciation. We get a lot of accolades. I listen to them, I understand, I appreciate their kind words and gestures, but not everybody converts it into action. See, it's just 8-9 months back, that is all it is. Less than a year, actually. And he came and just did not talk. He turned it into walk, in the sense he made it into an action. And what kind of action you see? Thousands of startups, hundreds of investors, and for the first time, as he said, 150 or so term sheets, 150 new startups which are getting mentored, which are getting created over here. What more can you talk about? A selfless thought coupled with selfless action can achieve anything, and Jay Garu is the living example. He might attribute it to my grace and guidance, but what is grace after all without somebody on the other end working for it? So this is how he has put it all together, and I'm really truly appreciative of the whole team, including our university students and they who have volunteered. Everybody is a volunteer here. That's the beauty. They were telling ISF does not pay anybody anything. They all are working, whether they are CEOs or students. They're all working, from the chairman to the co-founders to everybody else. All are volunteers. And that is why this is growing so fast, because there is selfless in the hearts of people who are working for it. They're not coming here for some personal agenda. They're here for the greater good of the community. And that's how they sacrifice their individual good for the greater good of the society and the community. That is what Mahatma Gandhi ji said. I'll close with that. He gave a talisman. It's called Gandhiji's talisman. And that mantra is, he says, whenever you are in doubt about any action, anything that you want to undertake, recall the face of the poorest and the weakest person that you have ever seen. Then ask yourself, whatever you are planning to do, contemplating to do, is it going to restore some kind of control over his destiny for that poor and the weak? Is it going to make that poor and the weak person's life any better? If yes, then go ahead. All your doubts will disappear, he says. If you just put this talisman, put this test, litmus test before every of your decisions. So when you now go back and you build your companies, corporates, you lead the society and industry, please ask yourself, whatever decisions you contemplate upon, is it going to make the life of the poorest and the weakest person you have ever seen any better? If the answer is yes, just go ahead and do it despite whatever be the odds, and you will succeed at the end. But if the answer is no, that it's not going to improve the life of the last and the least, the weakest and the poorest, then think twice whether you really need to do it, or can you do something better with your lives before it melts away in front of your eyes. So that is the idea of building better societies. Once again, I congratulate each and every one of you for having participated, shared your inspiration and ideas, and I'm sure in times to come, this year maybe 150, next year it may be 500 term sheets, you never know. But that is how it should grow. And what do you call such a company which grows 10x every year? What do you call a company like this? It's not unicorn, it is decacorn, he says. So that is how ISF is growing, is because of the selfless work of all of you. I truly appreciate you, and I look forward to engaging with each one of you, even as a social service organization. Don't just turn away and go back thinking my agenda of ISF is done. I got the investment, I didn't get the investment, whatever. No, look at what else you could do to build the society. This is the birthplace of Mokshagunnam Vishveshwaraya, who gave us the KRS Dam. That water is actually irrigating most of the southern side of Karnataka, and because of that there is prosperity. And that idea was a crowdfunding idea. If you do not know, the Wudayar, the king who was there, he did not have enough finances to build the dam. But Vishveshwaraya's idea that we have to build something for the sake of irrigating this area, which was otherwise become economically very poor, they went to the public. They went to the people and said, what can you give? Because treasuries are empty. They had to pay huge taxes to the British just to keep their kingdom together. So they did not have funds to build a dam, KRS dam, or build a canal system. It's Mokshagunnam Vishveshwaraya and the king together who went village to village, asking people for their support, and people donated. People donated implements, people donated iron, people donated money, gold, all kinds of, it was the first, I think, example of crowdsourcing or crowdfunding, which is now the in thing. And that was to the credit of Mr. Vishveshwaraya, who was patronized, of course, by the king. But today, you look at the prosperity that it has brought, especially to down south, Mandya, Mysore, all these regions. It's only because the river was flowing. River has been flowing there for thousands of years, but nobody channelized the energy, the resources of the river for the betterment of the people. If every time you sold or whatever, every TMC of water that you release, you charge people for it, you wouldn't have been a prosperous society today. Our farmers wouldn't have survived. Because Mr. Vishveshwaraya thought it is to be done for the greater good of all. Because the king said, I am ready, even if I am king, I am ready to stretch my hands in front of my own people for the sake of their good, better future. He stretched his hands out. He did not think, I'm a king, I shouldn't do it. And that is how people were inspired that when king himself is coming and seeking support, we must support. And they all came together. That is the inspiration of this land. So this is a startup. KRS Dam is a startup which is now created so much of wealth for the society. And that is the kind of startup that you should think of. That is the innovation at the bottom of the pyramid. That is what is going to change the societies for the better forever. That kind of change we must affect through our intelligence, resources, abilities. Please think along these lines. Take back with you a lot of inspiration from here and keep chewing over it. And I'm sure insights will come. And that insight will be leading you to innovation. And that innovation is going to finally come back to the society as solutions. This is the method. I look forward to meeting all of you again next year, and many more of you. Each one of you should bring 3 more of your friends and colleagues, and that's how it should keep growing. So wish you all the very best. Again, thanks to Bosraju Garu for coming and gracing this occasion. Of course, Jay Garu and Dina, who initially seeded the idea, and now it has grown with everyone, Mr. Gulati, and the latest additions like Rajamohan Garu and many more. To all of you, my very best wishes and blessings. May you all achieve what you have set out to achieve. May that lead to greater good of all. With these words of blessings, I conclude.
Offering our collective gratitude to Sadhguru, to Jay Garu, to all the ISF team members and volunteers, we conclude the second edition of the India Startup Festival. Thank you all very much once again. Have a good evening.
I request all our ISF core volunteers to come onto the stage to have a group photograph with Sadhguru and our Honorable Minister. Please come. All the volunteers who worked day and night for making this so successful event today, I request all of them to come onto the dais.
The students, all the volunteers can come quickly and just kneel down in front. Boys and girls, yeah. Please come and come. Quick, double up. So these are all our university students, and you'll be glad to know that 75% of the rural students are from rural areas. Almost 50% are from below poverty line, and 65% are girls. And first 50% of the girls are first-generate literates. So that is the statistics of the university. Yeah. Oh yeah, so we will sit down. You have to kneel down further. Sorry.
Sit down.
కాపడం పెట్టుకో.
వదినా కషాయం
టాబ్లెట్
జలుబు తలనొప్పి ఇంకా నడుము నొప్పికి ఇంతకోనన్నా ప్రతి నొప్పి నుండి ఉపశమనం జండూబామ్.
జండూబామ్ ఇన్స్టంట్ యాక్షన్, ఇన్స్టంట్ రిలీఫ్, ప్రతి నొప్పి నుండి ఉపశమనం ఇస్తుంది.
పద పద.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Chaitanya Avasthi. This year I secured All India rank 37 in the Civil Services examinations with law optional. This was my first attempt. And we'll be having a small strategy talk. I will like to keep it very less about me and more about you guys. So try to maximize the time about your doubts, what you have, and my story and everything that is going on internet. You can anytime when you're free then watch it, because that's not relevant for the examination. Fine if you want motivation or inspiration someday, then you can watch it. But today try to make the most out of whatever part of the examination you are finding tough. In the beginning, let me clarify one thing, that when you see a topper, you start to have certain expectations कि इन्होंने कुछ ऐसा किया है, इन्होंने कुछ वैसा किया है. Understand this thing that toppers or anybody for that matter are also humans. You, the people writing this exam, the people checking this exam, and the people clearing this exams are all humans in the end. And I know अभी लग रहा होगा कि अभी इस साइड खड़े हैं तो बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं भी उस साइड बैठा था तब किसी एक टॉपर ने ये बात बोली तो मुझे वो मेरे दिमाग में बैठी. तो वो डर अगर खत्म हो जाएगा आपका आधा एग्जाम सही में हो जाएगा. वैसे लगता है लोगों को बहुत बड़ा एग्जाम है. दिस एग्जाम आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन सेइंग इज 30 और 40% एकेडमिक्स, 60% मेंटल. वो मेंटल ब्लॉकेड ही रहता है लोगों को और वो नहीं क्लियर कर पाते हैं, है ना. तो पहले ही आप ये भ्रम हटा दीजिए कि जैसे कि मैं आपको बताऊं, इस टॉपर स्टॉक में आप मुझसे एकेडमिक डाउट्स मत पूछिए कि सर हिस्ट्री का ये बताइए. वो आप अपने टीचर से पूछिए या और बेटर क्वालिफाइड लोगों से पूछिए. Just because I have cleared an examination does not make me qualified enough to claim that मेरा GS1 में चलो आज तक के highest है मान लो, तब भी I am not qualified more than the professor, right? I am an undergraduate. He is a PhD या कुछ और उन्होंने और अच्छी चीजें करी होंगी. So get these basics right. Not just about me, about any topper, be it rank 1, 2, rank 300. Ranks are just numbers. You guys will also know once you clear the examination, 1-2 marks में rank कहाँ होती है. Ranks are just numbers. So stop treating people or toppers as over glorification. Yes, we have worked hard and we are here to share that bit with you. I was very inspired by such toppers. I watched Vikram Grewal sir's talk. Very sorted person, very clear in his head. No beating around the bush or anything. Gave it his bit honestly कि मैंने ऐसा ऐसा किया और मेरे लिए ये काम कर दिया. So that's that. So we'll start. This is UPSC life in a nutshell. All bad puns will come here today. This is my Telegram channel also. I am very new to Telegram and all my friends have asked me to make it so that I can share my resources. So I don't even know how to use it abhi. But for the time being, this is the name of the channel. And ये सारे आज सब बस sample notes हैं. क्योंकि मैं घर पे नहीं हूँ तो मेरी फैमिली ने फोटोज भेजी हैं तो देख सकते हो आप टेढ़ी हैं, कुछ ऐसी हैं तो ऐसी होंगी. घर जाके आई विल प्रॉपर्ली स्कैन एंड पुट ऑल ऑफ इट इन दिस. फॉर द टाइम बीइंग आई ब्रॉट सैंपल नोट्स बिकॉज जब आप कुछ सुनते हो ना, आप ठीक है समझ तो जाते हो, लेकिन जब उसका पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन